YouTube. How are you doing on this glorious Sunday? The Sunday um, Emancipendence celebration. Trust you are doing well. How you do? Did you go to church today? Well, stopping by to record a little message, and I hope that it will be played. It will be played, so you can see it. Okay. Now, um, there are moments in the life of a people when celebration must become reflection. Celebration must become reflection. Part of our problem is that we celebrate, we do not reflect. Emancipendence is one of those moments because as we gather to commemorate two defining events in Jamaica's history: emancipation, which shattered the legal chains of slavery, and independence, which affirmed our right to self determination. Now, these are not merely historical anniversaries, they are sacred reminders that freedom has always demanded responsibility, dignity, and moral courage. You see this argument in Jamaica about the size of social housing? It's political samphai. This argument in Jamaica that somehow government is responsible for your life is control, because history teaches us that political freedom does not always produce personal freedom. And we may be politically free in Jamaica, but I don't know that we are personally free. We still largely practice the politics of who gets what, when, and how. A clientistic politics that suppresses our people and robs them of their dignity. Because a nation may be independent while remaining imprisoned. And I suspect that the people of Jamaica, many of them, are still imprisoned. You heard it over the last couple of days. They talk about the ball game of politics. That's enslavement, political enslavement, imprisoned by corruption. The chains may no longer be forged by iron, but they can be fashioned by deception. Oh, what a tangled web they weave when at first they set out to deceive. That's our new imprisonment, the imprisonment of political deception. Fractured the identities of Jamaicans, and a political culture that teaches our citizens to value party over principle. And when you listen to the online commentaries and you read the comments, this nation is largely divided down political lines. And you wonder, therefore, are we a nation? Because we are no longer fighting for freedom from the colonial masters. We are now fighting a new type of enslavement, disinformation, perpetuated by a political party that is not interested in putting forward policies to benefit the people, but in fooling up the people to gain power. That's the new freedom that we are fighting for. And when you listen to the recent controversies, including discussions arising from the leaked political conversations, those have reignited a troubling question. What kind of politics have we become comfortable accepting? What kind of politics have we become comfortable accepting? The fight for scarce benefits and political spoils that has created a hostile society perpetually at war. You see freedom there? Because whether the actors are from one party or another is not the primary issue. The deeper issue is whether politics has become a game of patronage. The politics of who gets what, when, and how. And what determines the advancement of people is whether your party is in power. Now, that is kind of what the struggle is in Jamaica. That's the modern struggle. And if you follow the politics in Jamaica sufficiently, you'll know that that's part of the struggle of Dr. Holness. The politics of who gets what, when, and how. Which means that if your party is not in power, you're salt through wooden spoon. And that is antithetical against what governments exist to do, which is to create an environment that people can pursue their happiness and their dreams. And the culture that teaches citizens to value party above principle. And when you listen to the online functionaries of the PNP, they are without principle. They are very unpatriotic. And I wonder in this Emancipendence celebration whether some of those bloggers can really stand at attention to the Jamaican flag. How can you tear down your country and celebrate independence and emancipation? I don't see how you can do that. Blessed afternoon to everybody. What kind of politics have we become comfortable accepting? Politics has become the ball game of patronage, obstruction, tribal loyalty, and perpetual division rather than a vocation of public service. And so if our understanding of freedom is reduced to replacing one political tribe with the other, then we have misunderstood the meaning of emancipation. We have misunderstood the meaning of independence. If our politics depends on who can best manipulate public opinion, reward loyal supporters, cultivate dependency, or divide citizens into competing camps, then we may be politically independent while remaining morally captive. Because patronage is not independence. A political party that exposes patronage politics traps the people in dependence. Patronage is not independence. Clientism is not independence. Political tribalism is not independence. The manipulation of citizens for electoral advantage is not independence. And one of the worst things that is happening in Jamaica is the manipulation of citizens for political advantage. That is systemic enslavement in 21st century Jamaica. And any politician or political party that continues to do that puts its people back into chains. Independence was never intended to exchange one form of domination to another. You see this nonsense that you hear people talking about democracy, as if democracy simply means you change one political party for another after 5 years. Nonsense. That is something that we need to get rid of out of our culture. There is no right to Jamaica House for any political party. That right is in the hands of the people of Jamaica. And if the people of Jamaica feel that this government must stay in power for 50 years, that's their right to decide. Mark Golding and the PNP have no right to be in power. That's not democracy. Democracy is the people. And so let's not talk about change one set to the other set. What we want is a government that is looking out for the people, a government that acts on behalf of the people, a government that delivers public service for the people. And in that regard, somebody can please tell me, what has the PNP delivered to and for the Jamaican people since independence? Independence was meant to cultivate responsible citizenship, equal justice, accountable leadership, and the dignity of every Jamaican, regardless of political color. But you know, Jesus says in St. John 8 that if the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. And what Christ is declaring is that the deepest bondage is not political, it is spiritual. And when a people are spiritually free, they cannot easily be manipulated by fear, bought by favors, divided by propaganda. One of the evil of independent Jamaica is that our people are being divided by propaganda. Misinformation is the modern day war, enslaved by partisan hatred. And Mr. Golden needs to, I listened to Mr. Golden's emancipation message. Mr. Golden have some questions to answer. His contribution to the partisan hatred currently afflicting Jamaica. A people whose conscience has been liberated. And if your conscience is liberated by Christ, then you become citizens who seek truth above slogans. Just on Friday, there was a news in the Gleaner, and you want to see how the people are rejoicing, thinking that the Prime Minister lost a legal case. People are not seeking after truth. What they're seeking after are slogans. Prime Minister lost no case. It was a procedural matter. Truth over slogans, justice over expediency, and the common good over party advantage. We have to stop playing the ball game of politics and start playing Jamaica's game. And therefore, on this Emancipendence Sunday, we must proclaim that Jamaica needs more than economic development. Jamaica needs more than economic development. Jamaica needs more than constitutional reform or electoral success. We need a moral emancipation. We need citizens whose loyalty is first to God and to truth and to country, not to personalities and political machines, but Marky G. One Marky G, what? Because I tell you this, a nation is never truly independent until its people are free, not only from external chains, but from the systems, the habits, and the ideology that diminishes the image of God in one another. Some of the slime online must stop, man. Some of the hatred and the slime that you hear online must be cut. We must cut it out. If our understanding of freedom is simply replacing one political tribe with another, then we are not free. Patronage is not independence. Clientism is not independence. Political tribalism is not independence. And the manipulation of citizens for electoral advantage is not independence. We may be celebrating independence, but boy, I tell you. Now, I could talk to you about Andrew Holness, Andrew Wheatley, or even Paul Buchanan. But I want to talk about us. I want to talk about what kind of democracy we are becoming. What kind of democracy we are becoming. Over the past week, just on Friday, 3 major court decisions have dominated the headlines. Yet if you ask the average Jamaican what the courts actually decided, they cannot tell you. They are out there commenting, They're out there talking. They're out there becoming analysts. But if you ask them, what were the court's decisions, they can't tell you. Not because they are incapable of understanding. That's not it. But because we have become a society that consumes headlines instead of judgments. We have become a society that consumes slogans instead of substance, and political commentary instead of legal reasoning. That is the dangerous place for any democracy to be in. So as we celebrate independence, let us understand that our democracy is at threat, is threatened. And I want you to understand that the courts are not campaign platforms. They are guardians of the Constitution. And every Jamaican has the right to celebrate or to criticize a political leader. But none of us has the right to misrepresent what a court has decided. We don't have that right. And if we allow legal judgments to become nothing more than political ammunition, then we don't merely weaken one political party over another. We weaken public confidence in the judiciary itself. And once citizens stop trusting that the law speaks louder than politics, democracy itself begins to erode. And the rule of law survives not only because judges uphold it, but because the citizens are willing to understand it. I stopped by just to record that, because there are moments in the life of a people when we must not only celebrate, but we must reflect. And as I reflected on the emancipation celebration, I realized that history tells us that independence or emancipation shattered the chains of slavery, and independence affirmed the right to self-determination. But these are not merely historical anniversaries. They are sacred reminders that freedom has always demanded responsibility, dignity, and moral courage. Because history teaches us that political freedom does not always produce personal freedom. Because a nation may be independent while its people remained imprisoned. And there are so many Jamaicans today who are imprisoned by political misinformation. And what we want is truth. I want to thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the other side. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.